The issue is not so much what health concerns there are about dental fluorosis, but the reckless assumption that when fluoride is doing this to the growing tooth cells, ignoring what it might be doing to the rest of the body, to the other tissues. And that's the issue that Carlson raises. So let's have a look at the other potential harm. In addition to the brain, fluoride harms many other tissues. And the reason we know that is there's a very important review published in 2006 by the National Research Council. It's called Fluoride in Drinking Water, a scientific review of EPA's standards. Now, the US EPA paid the National Research Council to do this review because they were trying to determine if they needed to lower the so-called safe drinking water standard in the United States, which is set at a ridiculously high level, 4 parts per million. In Canada, it's 1.5 parts per million. In Mexico, it's 1.5 parts per million. The World Health Organization says the safe level, or the dangerous level, is above 1.5. They found this panel of 12 experts. 3 were pro-fluoridation, 3 were anti-fluoridation, 6 were undeclared. So it was the first balanced panel in the United States history that had looked at the toxicity of fluoride. And they concluded that fluoride damages teeth, dental fluorosis, fluoride damages bones, causing a condition called skeletal fluorosis. In places in India and China, you see dental fluorosis in the kids, and you see skeletal fluorosis in the adults. And the first symptoms of skeletal fluorosis is just like arthritis. Fluoride is an endocrine disruptor. It lowers thyroid function and accumulates in the human pineal gland. And as we've seen, fluoride damages the brain. Now notice what we've said here is fluoride does all these things. No question that fluoride harms nearly every tissue in the body. No question about that. But the real question is, does fluoridation cause this harm? With the relatively low levels that we have exposure that we get in artificial fluoridated communities, can it cause any of these harms? Well, I've already been through the brain, but this is what the National Research Council said about this in 2006, and they only had 5 IQ studies published at that time. It is apparent that fluorides have the ability to interfere with functions of the brain. So with all these other health risks on the table, and I won't go into any more details, I think it's sufficient. If it's true that fluoride damages the brain, if it's true that fluoride at the levels of fluoridated communities can lower IQ in children, to me, the argument is over. How could anybody accept a trade-off between lowering your kid's IQ versus lowering the kid's tooth decay? Obviously, the brain is far more important than the teeth. And that argument becomes stronger when you find that there are better alternatives to fluoridation, which we will come to in a moment.